prices in 13 hours. It's almost 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm on the 5-minute chart. So I bought at the market here and got in using, well, I'm getting filled on some limits or something. So I'm in like a $5 million position. That's 500 bucks a pip, essentially. So we'll make 5 grand if we can, every time we go up 10 pips. And if we make it above this high of the day here, so kind of auctioned into the lows, took out the Asian low here. This is the first buying window. So had you got in here on this plunge zone, 5-minute chart, anything where the market is going to come down here and pound into it like here. So this is why this is prime real estate here. This is the severe low. I mean, this is severe. No way around it. That is severe price. And that on the 1-minute chart, on the 1-minute chart, it's psychotic. Double bottom. Somebody talk about 1-minute chart. Yeah, 1-minute chart with a line chart, I could see RSI giving you a divergence here, even on the 14 period. There's enough data points. And if you're trading really big and you only want to be in the market for 8 minutes, these are great trades, but they're great trades on all time frame. So if you're looking at them nicking the wick on the 1-hour chart, it's going to look like a nice double bottom on the 1 minute. So right inside of this, there is this beautiful, you'd say, oh, look at this. Yeah, it's beautiful. You can't even see it here. So that's the 5-minute chart. So inside of here is the double bottom. I wish MetaTrader had this thing where when you change the 1-minute chart, it just immediately went to change the zoom level. So here, if I go to the 5, you just can't, it's invisible. It looks like this now. It looks like it's over here because that's the rate of change. It's 5 times the other rate of change. So when this thing comes tumbling into the zone, this is the if you can see if you don't have to take this trend trade to see that the failure, the trend, right? When people start to change there's just the flow of price, and the last known failure point would be here. So this double bottom gives out, right? So that should become a top, but kind of, overshoots a little bit, but it's more about this top here, this right in here. Anything in there, you can't be too cheap. This is 5 pip window. People have already gotten out of this trade right here. So new sellers have come in on that 5 right now. So here's 4 o'clock in the morning, boom. So now we're updating the 1-hour charts, but we're locked in. In other words, sure, we could go lower again, and I think I got enough, and I've actually got buy limits 1K stacked up in here, although every time this market plunged and held under the floor, I kept pulling the trigger on 21K. So that's how I got in this giant position. So now I'm down, 700 bucks. 500 bucks a pip. I would never trade like this. But, for demo purposes, I still got 83,000 free margin. So I'm kind of like using, over 10% of the account just to trade this, but it's a demo account. Besides, I know I'm right about this trade. But no, this is, if we got pounded, if they took it down lower, I don't know if my pendings here could even match what I pulled at the trigger. So when this came below here, I definitely got pretty excited. So I bought, I'm sure, You know, who could resist this sell off? This rate of change here was so harsh. It was a pounding. So into this hole. Then when it went below and it went to this slice here, there's this spot here. Use this guy. Once you go below this piece here, make this some type of insane yellow here. Good old yeller. Old yeller. So this buying below that and getting out at that price, and then, you know, so here's the thing. These are all great trades. As big as I'm trading right now on this thing, I think I'd have to trade bigger on each ticket just to get in and out and take profits. In, out. Like, so you're making like $5,000 in like 2 hours of just up, down, up. I mean, if you trade big enough, right? You pull the trigger on a fucking 10 standard lots and sit back, then do another one. So 50 standard lots here. That's a big position. Of course, once we made it through this piece here, this was the critical piece, I think. So if you bought below here, you knew you had to get out on your first take profit. Of course, here's where you really loaded up. If you could get this price, the spread was pretty tight at that point. And the frantic nature of this just making new lows, it's so obvious why it's so frantic here and why that people have already cashed out. And then the 1 minute chart, if you remember, it looks like this. So you see that beautiful double bottom, then you're off to the races. And yeah, if you're trading really big on that, you know, you're just going to dump out. Here I'm down almost $800. So I'd have to withstand this and be ready to buy more, which I do have more limits down there. Or you got out here at the obvious rollover point where this support gave out and now it's resistance. So if I wasn't in the market yet, if I just woke up and saw this, I'd be like, well, let's put a buy limit here. In case we spike down, let's buy one at the market. It is now, strictly speaking, in 5 seconds, it's going to update this chart, and you could buy here and say, well, that's my system. I buy when it's pulling back. So you just bought at the market, and now you're holding, right? So we're locked in here. We're waiting for the next 5 minutes to go by. And so you could have traded this on the 5 minute. Trade it really big, you know. I don't think you'd be able to do. But I'm canvassing a whole area with 1Ks. That's the money management, low risk entry gradient. I can still put big fat tickets down here, like a rack of tickets down here. So if the market plunges into that, it comes out, that'll be a winning trade. So that would be a sleeper, like a sleeper cell there. And same thing here. Anything above here, I could place sell limits up there with a 10 pip stop. This is 10 pips from here to here. To make 10 pips, which I think I'd high probabilities that it's going to come back to this top and fail to realize top become a bottom and keep going. You know, here it's kind of easy trading. If it's down really hard on the 5, buy with a wide stop. If it's really down hard again, buy with a wide stop. If you can see this low and you realize that they're kind of like failing to have enough momentum to blow this out. You know, if you're going to do this where the market goes berserk and you're going to turtle trade it, in other words, you're going to just keep buying high and selling higher. That's no nonsense. Buy high, sell higher. Not buy low, sell high. buy high, sell higher. So you're in the trend, it's sweeping, everything's all systems go. Or are you going to do the unfair value spike entry? If it's spiking, you're like, wow, I got to take a look at this. What's going on here, people? Now, if you see it spiking up or down, you have to go and see why that's happening. Because if you're literally going off the chart, then you can't see enough data back. So what's ruling the market is the past. All old prices matter. Okay, highs and lows. So there's no the only thing that's making it more being attacked by a mosquito. Wait, never camp. All prices matter here, so we don't have this kind of we're not pricists. Up or down? Up or down is fine. So the 10-minute charts or the 5-minute chart has updated. We pulled back. We got this beautiful kind of like we're in the middle. So now we're at fair value. We've had unfair to the upside. We've had unfair to the downside. We're stuck in the middle. If it consolidates here, what's the next step? Up or down? I'd say there are going to be people probably getting out if we go up and buying if we go down. How far can we drop now? So now that we've kind of got this whiplash coming into the European Open, now we're going to attempt to take out the last swing high, whatever. Up here, are we gonna blow out the low? Right. I'm sure all the bulls are hoping that we can take out this high. All the bears are saying, well, I just got short here. We're right in the middle of the road. This bottom is supposed to become a top. People start selling there. What if that fails? What happens if we get up here? Is there anybody going to get out? I would definitely get out. At that point, we'd have like money. So we'd have like 13,000. I think I'm going to take my 13,000 and get out at that point. Okay, so we're up $124. So right about here is where I got in. So I got in last night on this plunge here too. So I'm just adding to the position. So not too much different than last night's price. That's another thing, bought 21Ks right around here. This is the pullback. So I got in there. Now we're waiting for this to resolve. This is the thing. Gotta have the patience for this stuff. So essentially, this price here, this plunge, drifts up. I think I bought here on this plunge. That was it. A little bit more here, I think, and then when they finally went and took out this low and actually came below the Asian breakout to the upside, I said, you gotta buy that. What a deep discount. I mean, that's serious price, And this retesting of not going after the low of the previous day, but never making it there, kind of funny how that is like the entry window, never makes it there. And this whole trade here, you could have made a nice clean high probability amount of pips there. Any of these actually. You could have a limit here and you could have got in on this one, so that's the one I took. Right, this is the obvious hard down fast. 15-minute chart slam down in to this this void, this cove. It's a vestibule here, and then up all the way to here. You know, what a sick game for people that are trying to maintain a position through all this. So this is, you should be able to make $5,000 as big as I'm trading. I would probably pull my trigger down to 50K and be able to boom, boom, and then you put pendings in, right mouse click, you know, place sell limit up here, buy limit down there, or you could just rewrite the scripts if you really, right? Because you're gonna make, still you're gonna risk $50, $100, $150 straight out. You know, this is, you might be down $1,500. Okay, so here's, we're trying to make a run here. Take out this wick. 15-minute chart. So that's a big deal, that wick. And on the 5, it'll be like a little poke, you know, this little poke up here. So a little wick. Gotta take this out. And go crashing through the gates at the top there. So I don't know if that'll happen. I'll probably make a judgment call here. If we're up like $5,000, I'm going to be still underwater if I dump out. So where would I get out here? Let's reanalyze the situation. I'm definitely got to get out here if we make it up to here. I would say anything on the way to that. Oof. So we're just about to breach this critical price here. So anything on the way up, I'm going to see how it goes here. So if by the bottom of the hour we're above here, I'm definitely getting out. Like if we get to here, I'm just going to dump it and go back to sleep. So that's the other thing. If all of a sudden our targets, our goals met early, why would we waste time? Because we could just come in with limits, unless you really do have a long-term target, and I wouldn't on this account. It's just too much money for me to wait. So if they can rocket to here, so you can't see the ledge now because I went to the half. I went to the 15 minutes, which wiped out that 5-minute little notch up there. All right, honestly, I'm gonna get out of this thing because my finger on the trigger. We'll get to $100,000. Right, that's always a nice fat equity curve there. Put some 95 grand. So get my finger on the take profit key. Let's try to make 3 grand. Oh, see, the sellers already came in. So now we gotta wait. Wait till the bottom of the hour. I don't know. Sellers are coming in there already, so I kind of missed their exit. You can see they're coming in, but that's all right. We'll ride it out. We'll try to make 7 grand. Get to that. Get to the yellow zone. I had plenty of opportunity to get back in. Besides, I'll still be underwater, even if I cash out up there. As soon as it comes flying back, I'll probably leave a quite a big position behind. So this is the roaring, the screaming back. I am ready to get out of this thing. It's just too much money sitting on the table for me. All right, so give it at least, yeah, because I think people are freaking out. So if we go to the 15, if I'm looking at the 15, I'm like, uh-oh, we better think about it's not going down. So on the 5, you may say, oh, they're trapping up here and they could rip it down and sell new highs. But on the 15, you're like, okay, on the half hour, you're like, oof, I don't know if we want to be selling here. And then if you go to the 1 hour, you're like, gosh, I don't know. And this would make you think, well, let's just wait till US opens. And if we're up here, if we're above this, holy shit, you know, that's going to be like exit city. If we ever make it back to the support on the time on the 1 hour time structure, then I think a lot of people are going to be getting the hell out there. And they're getting out for other reasons. The other reason they're getting out for, I think, is because it's up 20 pips. And if you're in really big and you're up 20 pips, you're probably going to get out. So here's the other void. So this is the floor, but this is the momentum line chart thing. So this actually still matters to the people that bought there and they're still underwater when they get to break even. So the top become a bottom, traders back here. This bottom becomes a top, right? And they just dump out. They buy the plunge. I mean, the winning traders, they would buy this plunge. However, and hopefully they got enough money to buy deeper in case there is a deeper plunge. The deeper the plunge, so here's a 20 pip, not quite 20 pips. So you're actually in a perfect world now, sizing wise. My God, if you were able to start here with, you know, 5 grand, 10 grand. By here, you're in like 80 grand, plus you've added up all the other grands, and you're like in $450,000 position because the last notch on the row was super big. And you're just like, wow. Now look at these. So on the 1 hour chart, look at all these opportunities that have nothing to do with any indicators other than just horizontal price. And certainly if you zoom out, you're going to say, well, maybe you should become a range trader, you know. Like, who's waiting for a setup on this? So somebody mentioned a robot they had. Yeah, just put up a link there or something, or put up a Facebook, or not Facebook, what is it? FX book. Or FX Blue, like how it trades or something. I guess there's so much opportunity to. So if you go out and cut your lawn, right? So I'm making my lawn into this like Franken lawn because I put like wild. I probably have deer showing up. I put like this thing called Spike Spot because I went to try to buy clover and that's all they had. So it's like a clover blend. And I think that's what the market is, you know. It's like, so when I go out there, there's dry spots and wet spots. There's clover that's already started. That's white Dutch stuff. They probably get a lot, but and so that's out there growing, and until we freeze to death, till the ice age comes. But I notice the market's same kind of thing. There's dry patches. It's not a linear thing. You know, it's you gotta go with the contours. So when I'm out there, I gotta go with what it is, and just adapt to the terrain because the low spots and high spots, unless I want to go out there with a bobcat, an earth mover, and move it around, I'm stuck. You know, so the market is a law that you really can't change. So it's changing, and whether you decide to go out in there, you can't affect the markets. So there is no correlation. That's why it's psychologically difficult to trade because you cannot, if you want to control, the only thing you can control is your participation. And so if you choose to become a participant because the price came into your window, that's different than if you're stalking the market. So people that have to pull the trigger at the market like I did here, you know, you kind of gotta get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and see, is there an insane, ridiculous move going on that you could jump on Or did you already place all those orders knowing that if we ever made it to that price? So making the transition between, you could scalp it. You could definitely, so we're up 35 grand now. So if we can just make it up 20 pips here, I'll probably get out. So this whole chart here is like a gold mine. This is the 1 hour chart zoomed out, and there are so many fucking micro trends and macro trends and bullshit on here, obviously. And you could have there's a 30 period moving average that's making money here, a 10 period, a 20, every period that you can imagine. In some form, it's some other confirmation method is making money on this chart. The only problem is that system needs to cherry pick this thing. So the guy with the EA, yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. Because if you can see, okay, so the lawn, if I had a robot cut the lawn, yeah. But if I look at it and go, yeah, but this is dry. Well, is your robot so fucking good it's going to go, it's dry here. Here it needs a little thing. It's got a mini bobcat on it. It's going to come out with a baby shovel and it's going to adjust this part of the lawn. I guess. How much does this fucking robot cost? And actually, that's more than one robot. That's the humidity bot. So is your EA the whole thing? I mean, to even test one, dude, unless you run on crude, so I say just play back the market, look at it and say, okay, because when the market goes up and down, it may go up and down 8 times. For you to exploit every zigzag, you'd have to get in, get out, get in, get out. So if you just did one of those price pulses and said, okay, I'm good with that. Okay, well then that's it, right? But what is the frequency of zigzag? Is it the 5-minute chart that you're on so you could zigzag constantly churning, hopefully making some kind of money? Or are you waiting for the swing to happen in 4 hours? So you're waiting for next week. If we get into this price zone, people are like, oh, yeah. Or it's just oversold, people are buying. Or it's just a wackadoodle price. Or it's just down 50 pips in 5 hours. So it's down too fast, too hard. These giant moves where you're like, holy shit. Now, if you bought into that, the rule is at the market is that if it's down 500 pips in an hour, you got to put in a 500 pip stop on that first ticket, whatever that size of that ticket is. So it wouldn't change anything there. You're just going to have more dollar risk. So if we get the account up to $200,000, we're probably going to trade it like, I would say once you get to 200 grand, now you're going to trade it pretty selectively. You don't have to trade it. People could come get their money. So the PAM count thing is what you would do if you were going to do that. So there is that, and you'd have to find somebody that's into that. That's another management issue. Like, so it's not that you can't analyze the market and go, hey, there's a trade. The question is, do you have even a 10K at the market, or you're on your phone trading? You could just trade on your phone, honestly. So if you wanted to trade without stops, and that's the only way to trade apparently with this MT4 on the phone, is that you get in and then maybe you manage the stops later when you can get to a Windows platform, a tablet. You could manage or maybe that's the use of a robot. Tell the robot to come in and you're going to get in. Robot comes in and starts putting bullshit stops, but different stops on different tickets. Not a hard stop on the whole position. You want to lose the whole position. So maybe a maintenance bot, robot that could just come in and do trailing stops. That's all it does. That's all it has to do. Or it's going to do more sophisticated. But then, of course, is that going to get in your way? If you're in the trade and hey, I'm in this trade for 3 hours, I have no stops, I'm on my phone, I'm flipping the account, stuff like that. And once the trade starts to go your way, you take off a few. You could do it on the phone. If you're trading 10Ks on your phone, which I wouldn't, but without a stop, I mean, it just seems ridiculous to expose yourself to, like, something really bad could happen. I mean, people think what's happening is bad, but no, something really bad happens. This is over the counter markets, you know. Don't forget, penny stocks. That's another thing I can't understand why the no nonsense guy doesn't get it. That this is penny stocks. There is no in an unregulated market. How are you expecting LIBOR? Oh, these guys they ripped off the other bank and they're being fined and they laugh and it's just so much money. Who cares? Of course it's psychotic. It's moving up and down a penny in here. Unbelievable. There's so many price increments. So you got 1,000 some micro. I mean, I'm sure people have already got out of this trade. They're like, okay. I know the 5 minute guys are like, yeah, I think we're getting out here. So we finally made it to our target. And look, I got to stretch this out. So you may look at the market in these terms here and say, well, you know what? I got this uptrend and I'm going to get in real big. But then you're like, what the fuck is this pullback here? So in the moving average world, I'm sure it looks like this on some level. You know, after your indicators catch up, after this psychotic sell off, you know, your moving averages are kind of lagging to respond to that. Let's see, you got this big creeper gear moving average here, and finally it's turning up, and all systems go. And you buy right here, actually. And you're like, woohoo, I love this trade, not realizing you're coming into this. Uh-oh. We just took out the high from 3 days ago. Oof. I bet people are going to sell there, especially the people that bought here with this in mind. You know, they're going to be like, or just people that sell because it's up. Plus, look how fast we gush into this window. Once we gush above this, forget about it. So you could have had your sell limits here yesterday and just traded it to here. It would have been good. Stick around for the engulf, and then I started buying below here. Scalp to this. Reload the gun. So the reload, you don't get the reload if you just traded one price pulse, but if you just did this trade, you were good, right? If you sold here, it came back to here somewhere, and you got out here where people are getting in. You don't have to get in where the revolving door goes around. Or you're not even in yet, and you got buy limits here waiting for some, I don't know, NFP bullshit. And if it comes below here, this is where I put in 8 hour, maybe that's an 8 hour order. Here's all day long. All day long, you got to be a buyer here. And you know, you can't believe they're going to take it back to these prices, but look how they take it back to this 10 pip window here on this one day and just rip it up. Okay, so if these pendings are sitting here, yeah, if you're watching this go down, you may not want to buy it because it scare the shit out of you, like right here. Bam, but what's going on? It's taking out this. Never gets here, but having a basket of tickets strewn in there. Now it looks like a buy here at the market, actually. Okay, it's taking off here, so I guess we're going to ride it out until US opens. Now, I could come in with trailing stops, but I'm not. It's a demo. I don't care. I'm going to let it go. Let's go to the 5. We're pulling back now. So most people that were in pretty heavy, they got their exit. So I think we can see it on the 1 minute chart. So that big run up there, wow, people just, they're like, I'm out. So see ya. Because that was such a nice sweeping move there. Look at the pullback off that. Once we finally got back to the 1 minute support zone right here, they're out. Now here comes the people that are buying the apex of this 1 minute chart. So they're buying the apex of that triangle there, that breakout that they missed. They're buying the retest of that. So now it's 5 minutes after the bottom of the hour. So I'm going to stay in this trade. Looks good on the 1 minute chart. So we just got to look at this sweeping rip back. So that's what kind of freaks people out. They're like, holy shit. Because we're up 3 grand. So now I'm going to say anything above this, I'm just going to dump out. So I'm going to put my, open up my navigator. I got to get my trigger. So getting out is as important as getting in. And wait for this thing to pop above. This is the other critical window. So on the 5 minute chart, you know, these windows are a little easier to find, I think, if you're going to set it up with this. You probably see it on the 15 also. So maybe this looks a little. So here I'm almost ready to get out. Jeez. On that 15, wow, what a nice. So you can't see that 5 minute spike here on the 15, right? You can see that. You can't see that wick. You can see the wick only on the 5. So that's invisible. 15 just looks like, it's just kind of ranging. But there is a lot of volatility. So you can see the wicks, the whole bar is bigger. So there's not a lot of volume in Asia. Baby moves. Big volume. Big volume. You don't need a volume indicator, hopefully, to see that's moving. It's probably taking volume to move it on some level. People nitpick the shit out of this stuff, you know. It's so sad how there's so much computing power that people like no nonsense get wrapped up in. There's a million indicators. I'm not going to do your homework for you. Why don't you go out there and research? Okay, I guess find one that fits. I like the spandex, honestly, Lycra. It seems to wherever you go, it's there. Wherever you are, there it is. Alcoholics Anonymous. Everywhere you go, there you are. Well, there you go. So I told you that wick, the wick is going to blow up your account. But see if you can make money off the wick. Bag the wick and then ride what you hope is going to be the engulf. So if you're going to make money on the wick of a hammer, are you going to stay around till the hammer, the 4-hour hammer, finally 12 hours later goes up and takes out whatever high that is up there? So, also, so look at this coming back down again. So people already cashed out. There's a double top on the 5 minute. Do you think that's going to be a double top people are going to sell, or is this the... And look how people actually cashed out on this particular broker. On another broker, you might have gone up just a hair higher here. So, slightly different prices in each broker. Good tight spread here. Half a pip you're paying there. So this is one. It's like a half pip better than a fixed pip broker. Euro dollar. Okay, let's see what happens here. Let's get this thing around. Give this thing out some time to catch up. We wait for my indicators to catch up. So we came back down here, and I bought more. Bought more at the breakout point, since this is the 5 minute chart. I thought, well, what the hey, this is even a better price. So I'm all in. That was 15 minutes hard down, right at 15 minutes. So 5 minutes ago I bought that. Didn't buy too much more, but pulled the trigger, you know. Now we're going to wait till US opens. Okay, so it's been about, oh God, 8 hours something. I'm going to cash out. We came down here. I bought that. I bought all these plunges. This I had the limits in there. So that was automatically being done there. Big crop of limits. Okay, so time to cash out. Taking this euro off the table. Europe's closing. Made it to $100,000, so made $5,000 there, I think. Okay, she's cashing out. My biggest winner is $32 in the euro dollar, but once again, it's a lot of $32 winners there. What else we got? A little British pound here. Let's cash out. Those are all up. Let's go flat on everything into the weekend. And looking for another sell-off here to pick up some limits. Sunday night. So we are cashing out. Every little bit helps. I think there are some tickets underwater here. Just 1Ks though. Okay, we're up 160. We probably left with about $50 underwater here in the end. So here's the 1Ks. Still cashing out. I think I got a $1 yen in there. So we'll just close all winning trades. Okay, it's come in like this. Get rid of these other ones I wasn't really in too big. Alright, so I'm underwater. $40. I figured about $50 underwater. So we could just close all open and pendings here. And just close out the day and call it a day, because after Europe closes here, there's a few little moves in the market left, but not much. So I made it to $100,000. There you go. Still in 150K of nonsense. Closing all pendings and all opens now. Right around $100,000. 300 passed, so we should be able to get out of this thing. I don't think the market's going to move too much at this time of day. Whole lot of tickets in there. I'm assuming Falcon FX is just like Hugo's as far as the amount of tickets, but that's the one thing that changes people. I think you need like $100,000 or $200,000 to open up to create a MetaTrader brokerage account. You need that in escrow to cover all the trades your first traders start. So still closing all open and pendings here. So next week, still kind of trapped in this box here. So you would think, oh, that British pound already had its kind of like spectacular move. And that was 2 days ago. And then you had to sell up here. So it's a buy-sell thing here for the range traders. Trend traders, yeah, your target's probably, they may be 3 days away, 3 hours away. I don't know what kind of trends people are trading. One man's trend is another man's move to the end of the range. Okay. All right, so we made $5,000. Better than kicking the head. Unless you like that. Unless you're into that kicking the head stuff. Okay. Still doing a closeout. I think I could actually start this script again. I can run multiple instances of close all and get a little faster execution here. Like if I launch it on multiple pairs, I think it's going to start. There you go. Boom. You are flat. And that's the name of that tune. I don't know what's giving me this. Oh, it's trying to close stuff it can't close, I guess. Alright, that's going to go on forever until I close the platform. And the euro yen is going up. So it's just, this is nonsense. You know, if you didn't catch these moves, in my opinion, you just are waiting. I don't know, man. I don't know how long you can wait for these trades, but there you go. That's it. 100 grand. From $5,000 in 92 days.